Hello Internet, welcome to another episode of The Complain Train. I'm just sitting around just bringing everybody some news about video games. You know, some of the stuff out there in which a few people that they may not necessarily be clear on, but just some interesting articles that kind of came by my, or at least that kind of crossed my eyeballs. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Red Dead Redemption 2 could have more than one playable character. I mean, surprisingly enough, this one actually doesn't seem to be something that's all that shocking. I mean, again, looking at the trailer and everything and what was actually supposed to have been said about John Marston's son, about him being the main character and what is going on with actually bringing him back and actually giving him a bigger role, or kind of talking about his story, was also an option to a few people. But reading this article, it actually seems as though quoting here, it'll be just like Redemption, single player story, open world, stranger events, gang hideouts, and all that bleep, of course, you know. And 3 playable characters from John Marston's former gang, and John isn't one of them. Most likely, at this point, I kind of can see why John isn't necessarily, or at least John Marston isn't necessarily a playable character in the game, because again, the previous game was all about him. And I believe that the game started off with you talking about with him him helping the state actually capture his old gang members and whatever. Or at least for this one specifically, it would be nice to actually sort of see the origin days of John Marston, and actually sort of see what these moments were that actually led him up to practically leaving and wanting to just become a family man. You know, because again, we did actually see one of his other members early on in the game, who I believe was actually had his own little armada and whatnot, and did take a pot shot at hit John in the stomach. So that does sort of seem. So this one does sort of seem to have a very interesting focus, you know. Now, honestly, also in the same article, they also say that Red Dead Redemption 2 is officially announced. Was officially announced to come out upon I believe in November of 2017. Now, that doesn't necessarily that seems like it's a very short time to kind of present a game, especially since this one's only been in development for about 2 years. The most I can say is that if it does come out and it has that type of focus, well, get ready for Red Dead Redemption Online, everybody. I mean, again, at this point, that's basically the one thing that's actually keeping Grand Theft Auto alive at the moment. So I'm kind of hoping, or at least I'm kind of hoping and also dreading a Red Dead Redemption Online. So take that what you will. In Tekken 7 news, a new pro wrestling comes to Tekken 7 with a special Kazuchika Okada outfit for King, which again, I'm actually kind of happy to see, because this outfit he has looks kind of cool. I mean, it's nothing, man, on his Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection suit, and it's actually kind of odd to sort of see King in a Valley Tudo mask, whereas actually watching him in his normal Jaguar mask, it's kind of crazy. But then again, it's actually nice to actually sort of see that they're paying homage to basically the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Okada Kazuchika. It's actually nice to sort of see them pay homage to that. I mean, again, King is basically one of those characters in which that they could pay homage to just about every single one of the wrestling world's characters by just patching in wrestling attires for him, and just giving him different colors and different logos, which most likely that I'm surprised that they didn't do yet. On the flip side of that, though, we also have another announcement, which is that Kuma and Panda have finally been announced for Tekken 7. I mean, they kind of had to go through all this thing, man, of them kind of announcing him, man, at the grand finals of the 2016 King of Iron Fist tournament, like an actual tournament, You know, like they had to announce them then. But I was kind of wondering how come they didn't announce them earlier. However, they do seem, man, to be the same quirky characters as what they are, as what they were. You know, bears with like surprisingly human type of interactions and whatnot. So that is something, and I'm actually looking forward to them. This does kind of, well, now a little side note, this one does kind of, well, with Kuma being in the game, it kind of makes me ask the question, like, how does the power scale actually work in Tekken? Because again, is Jin the strongest? Is Heihachi the strongest? Is Kazuya the strongest? Is Heihachi's wife the strongest? And what about the tiers that stack under that? Especially with how they line up with Street Fighter characters. Because again, most people, they do think that Ryu is sort of equal to Jin in strength, even though Jin kind of has his devil gene and Ryu has his evil Ryu form. So that's just a bit of a tangent. So let's move on to our next story. And to end this off, I kind of wanted to talk about something a little bit different, which is movie trailers. And yes, everybody knows that the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer has come out, and everybody kind of has voiced their opinions on it. And me personally, there's one change that I like about this one that wasn't necessarily present in most of the other ones. It is that somebody actually knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man around his age, and they actually can, and basically he has somebody to confide in. Because again, that's always something that kind of bothered me with most superhero stories. You know, give or take with Static Shock, which again was sort of a Spider-Man-esque kind of hero. You know, teenager with superpowers and all that rest of that other stuff. Because again, I understand that Spider-Man is iconic, but for all of its years, it's never going to be a Static Shock. Because again, Static Shock was kind of more of a realistic hero. I mean, of a realistic teenage hero dealing with normal teenage problems. And I'm happy to see them kind of veering, or at least like them putting a little bit of that into this one. I mean, again, like Spider-Man Homecoming, like when there was that whole Civil War business there, people were kind of having a problem, man, with the whole attractive May thing. Like, get off of that, you know. I mean, this one, he actually has a friend. He actually has somebody to kind of confide in, so I'm happy for him, you know. Moving on to our next movie, however, we have, again, another Aliens movie, in this case, Alien Covenant, which that's, to sum this movie up in so many words, or this trailer, idiots basically go out and then they find this planet that has these eggs on it, and they do just about what every other idiot necessarily shouldn't do in the science faction, when basically you go to a brand new place that is uninhabitable by humans. They take their helmets off. They take their helmets off and they proceed to fuck with shit that they are not meant to be fucking with. I mean, again, that's kind of the whole major lesson of Prometheus is, hey man, like, I know that you're out there looking for God and the creator, but still, if you find other things upon this planet, leave it the fuck alone. And they kind of negate it to kind of listen to that lesson, and of course, two dudes ended up getting killed by a fucking penis monster. So guess what's gonna happen now? I get the feeling, or at least like that they end this trailer off with basically two dudes finding those eggs and getting jumped by a facehugger. So yeah, enjoy your like chest bursting, motherfucker. Ugh, God, that is what I gotta say about that. Please tell me what you think about these stories down there in the comment section. I'll catch you on the next Jongravesshow Show. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games. This has been Complain Train, bringing you news stories with the power of a steam train. And I'm out. So Ruby has done it again, where that not only did they mix a 7.5 episode in with this entire thing, they actually did their thing and actually like threw like a whole story there too. So this episode kind of had a major info dump in it, mostly because it focused more on Crow, telling them the history of not necessarily the Silver Eyes per se, which I guess that it's just safe to assume that that's a separate power from the maid.